In the quiet of a Virginia morning, under the dappled shade of oak trees in Riverside Park, Ellen Harris walked her German Shepherd, Shadow. She was a black woman in her early 50s, a dog trainer with a past that few in this affluent, mostly white suburb of Richmond knew. Her faded jacket and steady stride blended into the routine of dog walkers and joggers, but her presence never went unnoticed. To some, she was an outsider in a neighborhood of manicured lawns and whispered judgments. To others, she was just Ellen, the woman who could calm any dog with a whisper. But on this crisp autumn day, a single encounter would unravel a hidden truth, exposing a system built on silence and power. What began as a walk would end with a reckoning, one that would shake Riverside to its core. Ellen's morning started like any other. Shadow trotted beside her, his ears alert, his leash loose in her gloved hand. The park was alive with the hum of children on swings and the scent of fresh-cut grass. But as Ellen rounded a bend near the playground, a police cruiser pulled up, its tires crunching on gravel. Her stomach tightened not from guilt, but from a lifetime of knowing what such moments could mean. Officer Robert Vance stepped out, his mirrored sunglasses reflecting the world as he saw it. Orderly, controlled, and white. Tall and broad-shouldered, he approached with a hand on his belt, his voice sharp. "Ma'am, you live around here?" Ellen met his gaze. "Yes. I'm walking my dog." Vance's lips tightened. "Got calls about someone loitering near the kids' area." She glanced at the playground, 100 yards away. "I'm nowhere near it." He stepped closer. "Need to see ID." Ellen's brow furrowed. "What crime am I suspected of?" His tone hardened. "Let's not make this difficult," Shadow growled low, his body tensing. Ellen's hand stayed steady on the leash. "He's trained to read intent. You might want to adjust your posture." The air grew thick. A jogger slowed, phone in hand. A mother ushered her kids away. Vance's hand hovered near his holster. "Control that dog, or I will." Ellen's voice remained calm. "Back off, officer. For both our sakes." Sirens wailed in the distance. Backup was coming. Vance smirked, reaching for his radio. "Dispatch, uncooperative subject. Send AK-9 unit." Ellen froze. This wasn't about a walk anymore. It was about power, and she was its target. When the K-9 unit arrived, Vance's confidence peaked. He barked a command, and a German shepherd named Titan leaped from the cruiser, teeth bared, charging toward Ellen. The crowd gasped. Phones recorded. But Ellen didn't flinch. She whispered a single word, too soft for anyone to hear. Titan's stride faltered. His ears twitched. Then, impossibly, he stopped, sat, and lay down at her feet. The park fell silent. Vance's face reddened. "What the hell did you do to him?" Ellen's voice was steady. "He knows better." The dog she had trained years ago had chosen her over a badge. The crowd murmured. Justice, for a moment, sat on the grass. But power doesn't yield quietly. At the Riverside Police Station, Ellen sat across from Vance, Chief William Carter, and legal counsel Susan Reed. The room was cold, the walls absorbing truth like a sponge. Carter leaned back, feigning calm. "You refused to comply, Miss Harris. You provoked the situation." Ellen's eyes didn't waver. "The video shows your officer drawing a weapon and releasing a dog on an unarmed woman. No cause." Reed slid a form across the table. "Sign this. Admit it was a misunderstanding, and we will avoid obstruction charges." Ellen stared at the pen, then pushed it away. "You're protecting a lie. I'll expose it." Outside, the world was watching. Social media buzzed with hashtags, Riverside Injustice, Dog Defies Cop. Ellen's friend, James Carter, a retired veteran, analyzed the park footage, confirming that Titan was her former trainee. A private investigator, Maria Lopez, found military-grade surveillance devices in Ellen's home, suggesting a coordinated effort to silence her. Ellen's attorney, Rachel Stein, prepared a federal lawsuit, alleging civil rights violations. But the police fought back. Riverside's local news, WREV, aired a smear campaign, painting Ellen as unstable, a former military contractor with questionable ties. Anonymous threats followed. "No dog next time." The tension boiled over at a town hall meeting. Ellen stepped to the podium, her voice cutting through the packed room. "I trained Titan in a federal program years ago, alongside Officer Vance. He doesn't remember me, but I remember him, his words, his bias." She held up a USB drive. "This contains audio of Vance saying I'd never be one of them. It's with the DOJ now." The crowd erupted. Then, Titan, brought to the meeting as a show of police control, broke free from his handler and stood guard before Ellen, growling at Vance. The room froze. A retiree stood. If a dog knows right from wrong, what's wrong with us? Applause thundered. Vance was suspended, and Mayor Thomas Harris Ellen's estranged brother promised an investigation. But the truth cut deeper. Ellen uncovered a memo from the K-9 program, signed by Thomas, recommending her strategic isolation to silence her influence. She confronted him in his office. You knew they sabotaged me. You let me face Vance alone. Thomas's voice cracked. I thought I was protecting you. Ellen's eyes blazed. You protected your career. He offered to go public, to expose every file. But only if you stand with me, he said. Ellen nodded, not out of forgiveness, but necessity. At a packed press conference, Thomas admitted his silence, announcing a federal probe into the police department. Ellen spoke next, her words raw. I didn't stand to win. I stood to end the lie. The DOJ charged Vance with obstruction and civil rights violations. In court, evidence piled up, victim testimonies, falsified reports, and Titan's refusal to attack. Vance broke, a tear betraying his collapse. He was sentenced to 25 years. Ellen whispered, this isn't victory. It's repair. Riverside changed. The police department faced reforms. Ellen launched Paws of Trust, a program using retired canines like Titan to teach kids about healing. At a ceremony, Thomas pinned a bravery medal on her. Ellen's speech was simple. Truth heals what silence breaks. The crowd stood, not just for her, but for a town reborn. Ellen knelt beside Shadow and Titan, whispering, we won with loyalty. The stars above Riverside shone brighter that night, reflecting a community that had learned to listen. What does justice mean to you? Have you witnessed injustice or violence in your community? Share your thoughts below. Your voice matters. Take a stand, and let's keep this conversation alive.